the moment, it sounds pretty quiet in here, doesn't it? Apart from the mice squeaking. The reason is because actually I'm doing some artwork on the board, and I have been thrown out of my usual art table. Yeah, I have. Off the art table, which is usually the dining room table, because for some reason my kids want to be able to use it to play on. I think that's out of order, right? So anyway, so a quick guide around the small study. All right, okay, so here we are. This is all the games. All right, those of you who know I'm a gamer and we lead games and help people who struggle to connect with other things apart from games. And my desk here. All right, okay. About to get a double-sized monitor. Alright, it looks very bright in here because of the way that this is actually reacting to all the light, but actually it's not all that bright, so it's quite dark. Alright, so it's yeah, you can see sort of like how everything is around here. Alright, so quite nice. Anyway, the reason we're doing this is I want to show you how one of the ways that I work for the current book illustration that I'm doing for a couple of people. A great book story, but it's got 9 pictures in it, which we're doing completely by hand, so it's hardly any digital work at all. I'm going to show you what I've got here. Right, so quick swing round. This is my light box. Now, this is back in the day, light boxes used to be a really thick thing, so like that. Got really bright lights and everything else. These days, LEDs, brilliant. 35 quid instead of like £200. So I've got one of these, and you can see how thick it is. All right, look. See, really thin, really bright. And the idea is, I'm not going to move this too much because it's already set up, but the idea is that under here you can see where the illustration is already. That is this kind of like this light, this greyer kind of colour here. That's actually the original drawing, which I did that in Photoshop. I have to admit, I did draw it in Photoshop using my graphics tablet, which is on the table there. Right, you can see the graphics tablet. Okay, at the back there. All right, so you do that, and then you print it, and then you print it all off. And having printed it all off, you can then put it underneath the paper. Right, so we've got some paper here. There we go. So you put it underneath the paper. This is very thick Fabriano stuff, so it's going to be perfect for we're doing this in coloured pencil. All right. But the first thing is I need to actually use my very, very cool pen. Okay, this is a cool pen. This is 8 quid. But it's a special ink which is waterproof and fade proof and archival proof and everything else. So it's brilliant for folks who are sorry, picking my ear then. That's gross. Maybe I should edit that out. I don't know. So the idea is that you can they'd like to use this as part of a Kickstarter giveaway kind of thing to be able to, so we can do some Guichely prints or whatever. Anyway. What I'm doing now is I'm going to show you sort of like, I'm going to edit for a little while and draw this down for a few minutes, then I'll turn it off because it just gets boring otherwise, and you'll see how I use this just to trace through onto the other page. You can actually see it'll change colours a bit from out, so I'll just show you this. Right, have a look. So that's what it looks like now. If I turn that off, there, can you see? So that's how much I've drawn so far, and back on, and you can see how it all works. Alright, so it's all rather good fun. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to try and set this up. I'll have to turn the camera around and turn it off and back on again, stuff like that. So I'll try and edit the 2 pictures together, and I'll show you a few minutes of me drawing, and then we'll just turn it off for a few moments or something. You'll see how long it takes to do each picture. Alright, okay, right. So one of the most important things that I do is I wear a glove. Right, so this is the glove. Can't see it really, can you? Oh. So I wear a little white glove which has bits cut into it. I've got just this like 2 fingers cut in. That makes it a lot easier for me to draw. And then I'll just lean over here. I'll draw in the places you can see. The whole thing. And it shows you just how long it does take to do each picture. Apologise for breathing. What I'll do is I'll do about 5 minutes of this. more exciting than the light box, actually, although I'm very excited to have a light box. The pen's the exciting bit, really, for me. I've had it for about 3 years now. I can't even remember how I found it. I think I stumbled across the idea of it somewhere and then Googled it. It's a Japanese pen. I actually have to get the ink from abroad, but as long as I make sure that I order less than £15 worth of ink every time, I don't have to pay import tax on it. Yay! Very useful to know is that one. And their cartridges, a bit like I get for your normal Pentel stuff and all the rest of it. And it's called a platinum carbon pen. It actually says that you're supposed to wash it out every time and don't leave it for more than 2 or 3 days with the ink in or the rest of it. But actually, I've left it for weeks and it's been absolutely fine. I think just say that to protect themselves. Anyway, so the idea is with this pen that you can do stuff. What can you do? I don't know what you can do. What can you do with this pen? You can, yeah, I mean, it's just a really good pen. But the ink in it's real. It's taken a long while for me to get the pen right. I mean, it's actually a very thin nib, and it was quite scratchy at first, but it seems to sort of like actually work quite nicely. So it's quite nice now. So yeah, so the little girl's done now. So now we're going to start moving around to these back characters and things. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the story. Alright, the story. My friends can use this if they wish to as part of their Kickstarter campaign. So if you're on Kickstarter, please, please, please do support my friends putting this together. They do some awesome schools work. Absolutely brilliant. And I've got the privilege of helping them to tell their story by doing the illustrations for them. So I get to do the thing which I love to do for others, and they get somebody who hopefully can tell the story well enough with them. So, what's this story about? Well, if you are on Kickstarter right now, then you'll get some better details from them. But from what I can understand, from everything I've read and talked to them about and all the rest of it, this story involves 2 children called Spike and Izzy, and I think it's their granddad, who you never see the face of. And does anybody remember the program Home Improvement? I used to really enjoy that one. And you never saw, I think his name was Wilson, the next door neighbour. You never saw his face. It's that kind of thing with Grandad. Anyway, they also have a car called Bluebell. And Bluebell's an old vintage car. And the idea is that these children are discovering lots of things about the world they're living in, and have these kind of like miniature children's adventures. And they discover a little bit about themselves and a little bit about the world and stuff like that. Anyway, the other character, apart from an old Rolls Royce, is Bluebell the car. And Bluebell is, I think the phrase is anthropomorphized or anthropomorphic. In other words, it's an object which has been given the personality of a human being. And Bluebell's like this old sports car. But what's really quite cool about this is the way that my friends have put the story together. Because normally I'm sort of like not somebody who likes stories like this. But there's something very charming and very workable about this story, to the extent that I think, because I'm a storyteller, you see, so I do, and now I help other people tell their stories. But there's something about how they've told their story and how they've put it together, which makes it work. And like I said, I've come across lots of stories over the years,
people who said, oh, this is a good story, or this is not a good story. And they thought that their story would work, especially children's stories. And it just doesn't work. But there's something about this one which really, really works. And trust me, I would not have committed the number of hours it takes to illustrate pictures were it not for what they said. For sort of like how they're telling the story and what's interesting about it. So yeah, so do please back this project. And I know they're putting sort of like various rewards on. I don't know what their extra rewards are, but you can see how long it's actually taken me to draw this up. Is it boring watching people drawing? I've got no idea. It's not quite as mad as some of the other videos I do. Anyway, the purpose of this story, where's it going? Well, darlings, what are they going to do with it? Well, it's for putting into schools, because it teaches the children about like various different things, and there's going to be questions at the back end of it. So it's very much like in keeping with the usual schools projects. But the great thing is, instead of it being the people I'm working with, instead of it being kind of like that attitude of, oh well, we know what's good for the schools and we know what children want, and they just have no idea at all because they don't work with children or anything. The people who've commissioned me this, my two friends, they have they're like me, they've worked with children for years and years. I mean, we're talking decades of work. We're not talking like, oh, they just started and they thought it would be a great idea. People pay them to work with children. Schools welcome them in all the while. So in other words, they're not messing around. They're not kind of like trying to make out that they know what they're doing and they have no idea at all. They really do know what they're doing. So when they say that this is going to be a good book and this is what children's schools want, you can be almost certain this is exactly what schools want. No, I've just drawn something, you can't see it, can you? Sorry about that. Let's try drawing around here instead. I'm just using a little tripod on my phone at the moment. You know, the iPhones are brilliant for filming, but when you're doing it this close, you have to make sure people can see. Anyway, there we go. For the next picture I'm going to work out for them, I think I'm going to do a screen grab on my computer as I work on it. Sometimes I'll work in pencil. So this one was done on all computer. The last one I did for them, I did the 3D modelling work first on computer, and then I moved over and did the rest in pencil. When I say 3D modelling work, what I mean by that is actually I position everything in terms of cubes and things like that, and I get to change the angles until I'm really happy with it. And the reason for doing that is because if I don't do that, then I can suddenly find the perspective lines have been out and all sorts later on. So it makes a lot more sense for me to put everything together like this. She's got some stripes on her dress. That's better. There we go. The funny thing is, of course, that you probably can't tell I'm actually doing anything because it's so bright on the camera. It probably looks like I'm just drawing over the same thing. Hopefully you can see that it's getting a bit darker. Anyway, there we go. That's about it, really. So I'm going to go and do a little bit of a Facebook Live thing. And people can look and say, what the dickens is the boy doing this time? So yeah, there we go. I'm just going to do that while the family's out, you see, because everybody's gone out. Ha-ha! They've all gone out, which means that I can record things. And if it all goes horribly wrong,